Well, let's now welcome Patricia, the Minister of Tourism, joining us via Zoom this evening. Minister, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Good evening. I mean, please tell us, please clarify some issues maybe with regards to, of course, what we've just seen, a heated exchange out in Parliament in regards to the board appointments. Why is the ANC and some opposition parties so against and or maybe unhappy about your appointments? I mean, we saw that they mentioned issues about Mr. Tim Harris and also suggested, I think, very critical that there were irregularities in how this current board was actually appointed. What do you say to those allegations, Minister?
Thank you, Elisa. Well, first of all, everybody is entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. If I have breached the law in any way, then please tell me in terms of this section of the Tourism Act, this is what you have breached. But to make untested allegations and to slander people and to not clearly speak to us being held accountable, we want to be held accountable, but in terms of the law and in terms of the rules of Parliament. Everybody knows the history of the South African tourism entity. I inherited a mess. There was the Tottenham Hotspur's deal of over 1 billion that I had to deal with first and stop that deal. The next issue that the Portfolio Committee is also angry with me about is because I was requested to approve an overseas travel to New York. And I wrote to the Portfolio Committee and I said, I don't have the delegations to approve a trip to New York. So if we can come back to the real budget of SA Tourism. Now, if SA Tourism has been so unstable in the last 2 months, why was there not a call for action before the 6th of March when I was appointed? I inherited this mess that I'm busy cleaning up. And I'm not going to be stopped by anybody to clean up this mess because we must use every little cent that we have in this country to deliver services and grow the tourism sector. So I've got great respect for the committee, but the respect is mutual. If they try and insult me like they do on a daily basis, I'm also not an angel. I'm also a politician. I can also defend myself. Thank you.
Minister, look, do you feel that maybe you're experiencing this as a pushback because obviously you are not from the ANC. You're the only minister that's been appointed in Parliament and you're not from the ruling party?
No, I don't think it's that. Because you know what? Just about a month ago, all ministers were called by the president and the president gave us, in my case, I got 5 priorities that I report to the president on a monthly basis. And then for Parliament then to say, don't give budget to achieve the priorities of the president, it just doesn't make sense. So we have to navigate this. We have to try and get the committee to focus on the real accountability. The AG has also raised some issues. I'm busy cleaning up the entity. This is just the beginning. So, why angry because I'm cleaning up? Why trying to stop me when I'm cleaning up? Because I must just do this in terms of the law and to serve the people of South Africa. So really, I hope we can get past this impasse and we can start respecting each other and we can read the documents and we can understand how government works. And I am very committed, together with the private sector, together with all this tourism sector, that we work together because we are still 21% behind our 2019 levels. Although there's a healthy growth that we've seen, but we need to all pull together and the Portfolio Committee must help us and keep us on our toes so that we spend the money, the 2.1 billion, that is being approved by Parliament now in a way that can grow the sector even more.
And Minister, while we're on budget there, I mean, the budget that was actually allocated to the now defunct and widely condemned Tottenham Hotspur deal, what has happened to that money? Are you making any intermediary plans to use it to improve the ailing tourism sector?
Well, first of all, the money that they wanted to spend on the 1 billion rand on the Tottenham deal, the intention was to take that money away from other projects within the sector. They wanted to move money away from the marketing of domestic tourism. They wanted to take money away from other projects that can grow the sector. So that money was never budgeted for in the first place. So you kind of enter into a deal when that money is not in the budget. So what we are doing now is that the annual performance plan for the entity has now been approved by Parliament. I've requested them to give me their operational plans and their business plans so that I can monitor the implementation of that. We give 1.5 billion rand of the budget of tourism to the entity. We left with 1.1 billion rand. And therefore, it is important that we make sure that this entity functions. If you take money away from the entity now, it will be the over 200 employees that will suffer because they're not going to get paid. So I really hope that we can see through that. Stopping funding to SAT is not a solution, but making sure, and with Parliament's oversight, making sure that the money is spent properly on what it is supposed to be spent on.
And Minister, looking at the current state now of our economy, I mean, we've got failing infrastructure, yes. We've got potholes, we've got load shedding, and the list goes on and on and on. Do you feel that we are still a sought-after tourist destination? And if not, what is then your department doing to turn that view around?
Alicia, just last year in 2022, between January and December, we received 5.4 million tourists coming to our country. And out of that, 4 million came from the continent. We've seen another growth in the first quarter between January and March 2023. We received 1.2 million tourists coming. And again, the numbers led by Africa, especially Zimbabwe, Mozambique. And so there is growth. What we need to do, we need to deal with those concerns that tourists have before they decide to come and visit our country. And one of the issues is safety and security concern. That's why on Monday in Johannesburg, the public sector and the private sector, together with the NPA and the police and everybody, we're coming together to develop an action plan. I will be telling the private sector from government side, we are putting in 174 million rand to train at least 1,840 tourism safety monitors. But we need double that. So I'm appealing to the private sector to come to the fore. So we are addressing all of those issues. Another weakness that we are dealing with is that there's a complete fragmentation of destination marketing. The private sector do their thing, government do their thing, and we're now pulling the two together and also working with our embassies overseas, with a local government, with provincial government, so that at least we can develop a key message. But, my head is on the block. The buck stops here. And I have said it publicly that government cannot do it alone. And I must say, I am so happy with the response from the private sector and the tourism sector. They are ready. So it's just up to us now, from government side, to create the regulatory environment, like for instance, I'm working with the Minister of Home Affairs on the visa systems. I'm working with the Minister of Transport on the tourism licenses. So there are a lot of priorities that the President has identified, which I'm focusing on, including the infrastructure that you're making reference to, Alicia. Infrastructure, our tourist destinations and assets need maintenance, and again, we've got a budget for that. We're also going to look at community tourism sites. We're working together with the South African Township and Village Association. They're doing wonderful work, and we need to make sure that all our communities benefit from the income of tourism.
All right. And finally, Minister, back to, of course, the board appointments. I mean, they were accusing you of cadre deployments in relation to you having worked with the three previous board members, and have also asked you to expand and reform the board. I mean, what are they talking about there, and how far are you with those reforms and expansions, Minister?
Well, they have got the information. This is the strange thing, that on the 23rd of April, I gazetted 3 board members, caretaker board members. And I was looking for just 3 people, one with governance skills that understand governance. The second one, we've got a lady, Koleka Zama, she's a chartered accountant. And the third one, a specialist in tourism. The committee is aware that we have already advertised, and calling for nominations to put the new board together. And then when the new board is put together, I will take the names to cabinet for approval. So this 3-member board is just to allow us not to have that vacuum. So they're fully aware of all the processes. In fact, I have sent the advertisement that we've put out towards the end of April. I've sent it to the portfolio committee. They are focusing on a caretaker board, while they know that the process to bring in the full board of 13 members has already started.
All right, Minister, thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Minister Patricia de Lille talking to us about her department's plans to turn it around.